Welcome to Back Care class. It is Friday noon and we are going to go through a typical gentle back care class like we have at the AWE studio on a regular basis. And I love this class because our backs are so important, and back injury and back pain are such a common thing that people deal with, especially as we reach our 40s and 50s and up from there. So the more we can invest in taking care of our backs and learning how to move well and let go of tension that often accumulates there, the better off we will be. So we're going to use 3 different positions. The structure of this class will start seated in a chair. So you want to get a chair placed where you can still see the screen, and maybe a pillow or a blanket in the chair to raise the height of your hips a little bit to make that lower back a little more comfortable. And then we're going to move into a standing posture and kind of go through some easy movements there. And then finally, I'm going to show you and demonstrate how to carefully and slowly make your way down to the floor onto either a mat or a soft surface in your home, and what that can look like. Often as we get older, we kind of lose that pattern because we don't practice it. So it's one of my endeavors is to help people relearn that and practice it for the rest of their lives, because it's a tool that we really need to have and keep with us. So as we go, what my goal is in this class is that in all 3 positions that we use, seated and standing and then lying on our backs, that we can utilize those 3 positions throughout our lives, and how we can hear what's happening in our bodies and use movement and breath to release tension that builds up, and to continually kind of open our bodies and use our bodies in the very best way and feel better. Everybody wants to feel better, but there are ways that we can make that happen and help that to happen. So I hope you enjoy this class. As in all the classes at AWE and online in this format through the Facebook page, I always want to remind people that any kind of pain that you have is a red flag, and that you listen to those red flags and kind of pull back from anything that doesn't feel good and find a posture that feels safe to you. And so just be cautious about moving into something too fast or moving into something that is large right off the bat. So we'll start out movements slowly and carefully, and then if you feel comfortable making them a little bit larger, that's great, and your body will accept that kind of gradual increase much better than a fast and a forced one. All right, so breathing as we go. I'm going to take my seat and we'll get started. All right, so I'm going to be kind of seated halfway forward in my chair, but it's up to you if you want to sit all the way back and use the support of your chair back. Feel free to do that at any time. And we're going to find a position for our feet comfortably on the floor, somewhere close to right underneath the knees. And then let your hips relax into the seat of the chair. So ideally, when you find chairs to sit in that are good for your back, let me turn sideways so you can see, your knees will be a little bit lower than your hips. So for tall people, that can be challenging, and that's why I have a pillow in this chair. So if your knee is a little bit lower than your hip, then your lower back is nice and soft and easy. The minute you start sitting in lower seat chairs, and your hips go lower than your knees, do you see what happens to my lower back? It starts to cave and roll backwards, and then I'm in this kind of banana position, which is not helpful. Okay, so one of my kind of soapboxes for back care is to start noticing the surfaces that you typically sit in and see if they put your hips in that good healthy place of being a little bit higher than your knees. Okay, so once you find that appropriate height, we're going to start a little bit of a sway side to side. And notice how your back feels as you go. So this is one of the movements that I'll tell you to kind of come back to, so that even if you are stuck in a chair for a long period of time, you can still have movement. You're not locked into immobility. You can still shift and sway side to side, front and back. You can find rotation. You can still keep your spine soft and movable from a seated position. So this is one direction we can play with, a little side to side. And then making your awareness come up your spine. Notice how your middle back and your shoulders and your upper back feel. Good. Keeping that awareness going, we're going to start breathing a little bit deeper. So instead of taking shallow breaths that are kind of contained to just our upper chest, we're going to start sending that breath down deeper into the lungs and allowing that rib cage to open and expand. That's going to allow more air to come in. And then the same thing with your exhales. Releasing a little more air out. So you can think of, if you're only breathing short breaths way up here, then you're only getting that much exchange of air. The rest of the air way down deep is just hanging out and sitting. Yeah? And you're not getting any movement in your rib cage, in your middle back, which your rib cage attaches to. All right? And in your diaphragm, which is that muscle way down low, we want that diaphragm to move with the breath. So when you breathe in, that diaphragm will contract and lower and make more space for your lungs to fill up. And when you exhale, that muscle relaxes and rises and actually helps push the air out of the lungs. So just by increasing your breath and relaxing your body in this gentle weight shift, boy, you can do a lot to help yourself feel better. You can do a lot to deal with issues of chronic pain if that's what you're suffering from in your back. So put that on the top of your list to come back to on an hourly basis. Simply rock and breathe deeply. It's so effective. And it's so simple. We just forget to do it. So I am your reminder to move and to breathe throughout the day, and you'll feel so much better. All right, so that's one of our directions, rocking side to side. Let's go ahead in a front and a back direction, but we're going to move our feet forward of our knees here. So if I'm facing sideways, instead of having your feet under your knees, we're moving them ahead of your knees to give yourself a little bit larger, longer base of support. And we're going to do the same type of thing, rocking front and back now. So again, your hips are still easy, starting out small and gentle, and then you can always increase the size of this movement as you go. As you roll forward, think of relaxing that lower back. And then as you roll back, you'll get a little bit of abdominal contraction. So this is a really safe way to start strengthening that core area that supports our back. Don't have to go far to get those muscles to contract and turn on, but we're moving. We're not gripping them or locking them. So let's connect the breath. Let's breathe in as we roll forward. And let's breathe out as we roll back. And keep that pattern going. So if your breath is a little bit faster than mine, you don't have to match my pace. If you start to feel a little bit lightheaded, it's because you're taking deeper breaths than what you're used to. But it's okay. Go back to a slightly faster breath to where you're not lightheaded, and then practice again. The more you practice those deep breaths, the more you'll get used to it. Your lung capacity will increase. You won't stay lightheaded. You'll get used to it. Few more rocks front and back like this. Deep breath in. And easy breath out. 2 more times. Breathe it in. And breathe out. And last time, breathe in. And breathe out. Nice. We're going to come into a center position right up where the top of the head is kind of lightly floating up towards the ceiling. And we're going to use the shoulders a little bit to help us relax. All right, so typical place to collect tension. Upper traps of the shoulder area, which looks like this. If you find yourself feeling like this, tense and tight, and you hold this pattern for a long period of time, you're going to be in pain, okay? And this is all connected to your back. The minute you start experiencing pain anywhere in your body, your whole body's going to react by tensing up, because it's what our body automatically does. So it wants to get into the action and hold and guard and say, hang on. But it's the opposite of what we want to do. So let's use the shoulders to practice undoing or unwinding that pattern of guarding and tensing. So on your next breath in, let's ease the shoulders up towards your ears a little bit. And then exhale, relax them away. And again, breathe in and float up. And breathe out and relax down. And you'll feel better the more you do this. So a little bit up. And then release and relax. A few more times. Breathe it up. And ease it down, let go. And 2 more times. Floating up the hip. And release. And 1 more time. And relax down. Good. Now we're going to drop the arms right down by your sides. Let them hang nice and loose. Maybe a little kind of shimmy side to side just to see how your back feels here. And then loosen up that lower back and the hips. Good. We're going to take a deep breath in and float the arms a little bit out, a little bit up, and then release all the way down. And again, breathe in and float out. And exhale, relax. 1 more time like that. Breathe in. And then let's ease the hands right in front of the body, right in towards the heart. So you can come into this prayer position, yoga language, or you can fold the hands, you can interlace the fingers, anything that helps you relax, but you're connecting the hands to the front of the body. And let's stay right here for 3 deep breaths and just listen to any sensations you can hear. Good. Stay right there for a couple more breaths. I'm just going to restart my music that turned off. Good. So hands right in front of the body. We're going to start to move the shoulders a little bit more here, keeping everything else relaxed. We're going to begin to float the hands a little bit up in the air, any amount. And then as you exhale, they coast right back down and drop the chin any amount towards the chest as you do. And again, send those hands up, lifting up a little bit and relax back down. Good. So we're going into a little bit of movement at that spine, really small and really soft. As you float the hands up, you can arch the back a little bit. And then as you relax them down, you can round the back a little bit. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me here. So as I float those hands up, I'm opening the front of the body, opening the chest. And then as I drop the hands down, I'm rounding a little bit and rolling. A few more times like that. Floating the hands up, take a deep breath in. And exhale, relax and round a little bit, drop the chin. And 2 more times, a little lift, a little arch. And then exhale, relax back down. And 1 more time, floating up. A little bit of an arch, maybe open the arms into a mountain pose. Hang out right here. Relax the shoulders down while you're here. So a lot of times when we lift those arms up, we tense the whole back and we tense our shoulders. But what happens if you hang out with your arms up and your shoulders are easy? Turn your head a little bit side to side. Middle back is soft. Lower back is easy. And then gently float those hands right back down to your legs. Relax them all the way. Nice. Okay, moving the ankles just a little bit to warm up the feet and the ankles and the lower legs before we stand up. We're just pedaling out the feet one at a time. Lifting one heel up and then the other heel up. Easy back and forth. Start to notice how the bottom of the feet feel, and we're going to use that engagement as soon as we're up on your feet. You want to really feel the floor through the feet. Another thing to think about ahead of time before we stand up is if you have balance issues that you're concerned about or you're afraid of falling, then you want to position yourself where you have a hand on top of a counter. The sink in the kitchen is a great place to practice this because your fingers wrap right around the sink. You can hold 2 hands around that sink and face it and just listen to my voice, and then you're super safe. Good. All right, so we're going to make our slow motion stand up, and this is just as important as anything else you do during the day. Every time you go from a seated posture to a standing posture, you have a great opportunity to practice kind of your body mechanics, your safety, and start to strengthen your thighs in a really great way. All right, so we're going to put our hands on the sides of the chair. And we're going to pull our toes more underneath our knees. Once you're there, you're going to send your head forward and unweight your hips and ease yourself up nice and soft to standing. Okay, let's reverse that movement. So going the opposite way, hinge forward. Start to bend your knees, soften your hips, reach for the seat of the chair, and then softly place the hips down. So did you see how that motion was continuous in slow motion the whole time? And there wasn't a plop, and there wasn't a jerk, and I wasn't using momentum, but I was using the position of my head coming forward ahead of my feet, and that unweights my hips, so it's much easier to get up. So we're gonna go again. I'm gonna show you from the side. All right, Here's my side position. Look how far my head's gonna go forward. Unweight your hips and slowly stand up. And then slowly reversing it. Get your head forward again. Reach back for the chair, bend the knees, and slowly place those hips back down. Yeah? The same thing goes for the height of your seat when you're trying to get up and out of a chair. The higher the seat is, the easier this transition is going to be for you. If you're trying to get up from a low sofa or a low seated chair, it's going to be tough. All right? So just choose your surfaces wisely. All right, so this time we're going to go ahead and slow motion stand up and stay standing up. Take your time, one more practice. Moving the head forward, unweighting the hips and standing up. And I'm going to move my chair out of the way. All right, so here we are standing. We're going to take a nice wide stance. So feet are a little bit wider than the hips. And we're going to start just like we were in seated, a weight shift side to side. The wider your feet are apart, the bigger your base of support and the safer you are. All right? If I were to move my feet closer together, then my balance is more challenged. I might get a little bit tense and tight in my back. All right? So, to create some soft movement, to relax the back, keep it easy and soft, widen your feet. And as we shift side to side, we're going to return to those deep breaths. And we're going to relax the body as much as we can. This is number 2 in your go-to movements during your day and during your life. Most of us find ourselves standing, and often it doesn't feel good. So if we have back pain, anywhere along the spine, our body's going to respond by tensing up even more against the pain because it hurts, right? So the way to break that pattern is to start weight shifting, either side to side or front and back that we'll do next. Start breathing deeply and listen to those muscles in your back and in your hips. As you listen to them and relax and breathe, you're going to kind of learn the skill of softening, of releasing that tension. It's a little bit like sinking down. And often we have the wrong idea about good posture. So when we're told to use good posture, most people go, I gotta stand up straight. And they'll lift their shoulders and they'll stick their ribs forward and they'll arch their lower back and say, there we go, I have good posture. When it's actually the opposite that we need to do. We actually need to relax the lower ribs towards the hip bones. We need to soften through the hips and the knees and the ankles. We need to soften and relax the shoulders down. And then we need to move and breathe. Okay? All right, so this is our side-to-side weight shift, available to use anytime. Now we're going to ease this right foot. So my right foot is also your right foot. This side, coming a little bit forward. So now we're going towards a walking, a functional stepping motion. We're going to ease our weight back and forth between the front foot and the back foot. And as you do this, it's just like when you're walking down the street. You're just cutting off that stance before we bring the back leg forward. All right? We're reversing and going. As you shift your weight towards that front foot, that back heel is going to gently lift up. And as you shift your weight back, the front toes are going to float up. So we're going to use this front and back shifting of the weight in the same way. Deep breaths, softening and relaxing the body as we go. we're going to connect the breath specifically here. So we're breathing in as we shift forward, and we're breathing out as we rock back. And we're breathing in, and we're breathing out. If we do this all day, like if we breathe and soften and move our body throughout our days, we'll feel so much better. Okay, one more thing to notice here. My belly is slightly rolling towards the right when I step forward, and then it slightly rolls to the left as I ease my way back. All right? So it's just another piece of softening the spine and letting it kind of flow naturally. So if you're home alone, you can practice this in front of your mirror and kind of watch and see what your body naturally does as you flow. If you're home with someone, you can face each other and kind of watch and mirror one another. It can be like a dance. One more time forward. And exhale, relax back. And we're going to ease that right foot back into place. And then send that left foot forward. Now notice I still have space between my feet here. So I'm not on a tightrope. Okay? Don't try to weight shift here and don't try to walk here. All right? You should have an open channel between your feet. So here we go, weight shifting with the left foot front. And take your time kind of settling into this. So I started out with my feet feeling like they were too wide. So I just pull that front foot back a little bit. Find a stance width and length that are comfortable for you. And take it nice and slowly. We're going to connect that breath again. So as you shift the weight forward, that back heel lifts, breathe it in. And as you shift back, breathe out, front toes float. And again, breathe in and breathe out. And you might feel a little bit of a roll of the belly towards the front foot and the left, and then rolls a little bit back and right. So as you continue this, you breathe, you soften, and you know what it turns into? It turns into a bit of a meditative kind of state. You relax and you feel good. You're like, oh gosh, I want to do this all the time. You can, or at least you can always come back to it. So that's really my desire, is to teach you and guide you into the tools you can use anytime you need them. And the more you return to them and use them, the more it will become your automatic pattern. And you won't have to think about it as much. You'll just go to what feels good. Couple more on this side. And exhale back. And one more time forward. And relax it back. Nice. And then start to send that front foot right back into place. Here are our feet side by side. Let's take mountain pose for a moment here. So we're gently turning those palms a little bit forward just to feel what happens at the chest and the shoulders. So a little bit lighter, a little bit more open. This is a great way to kind of break out of that pattern of rounded forward position. Okay, so we work and we do like this with our hands in front of us all the time. And it causes us to kind of go that direction. So mountain pose is great just to go in reverse, to kind of equalize and normalize what's happening in the front of our bodies. Not arching and not going into that forced good posture though, okay? Things are still soft and movable and open, but I've simply opened the front of my body. Few more deep breaths here. One more time. Ribs are opening. And then relaxing. Good. All right, we're going to make our way towards the floor. So I'm going to use the chair to demonstrate kind of how you can use the seat of your chair to support you going down to the floor first. And then I'll demonstrate not having a chair, if you're comfortable with that, and going down on the floor. So first, using the seat of the chair, using the palms of the hands on that seat to support yourself. And if you don't want the blanket or the pillow, you can get a little firmer hold on the seat. Okay? You're going to send whichever foot wants to go back first, back behind you, nice and long and wide. Use that seat. Keep your head forward here. Don't keep your head back. Keep your head forward. And then slowly drop that back knee down to the floor. From here, getting one hand at a time onto the floor, away from that front foot. So you're moving away from it so that it has room to go back. And then here you are on hands and knees. You can gently crawl around here. Once you're on hands and knees, you're golden. Okay? And if you're comfortable on hands and knees, hang out right here and relax the back. And you can softly move your back in all kinds of directions to release any tension. Starting out small and smooth and slow so your body trusts what you're doing. Okay? So I'm going to get up and demonstrate no chair. Again, we're going to start nice wide feet, okay? So I'm wide this way, and I'm wide this way. Yeah, double wide. Double wide stance. You've got your front thigh to support you instead of the seat of the chair. Your opposite hand is free. As you start to bend your back knee, send your head forward and send that front palm forward to support you on the floor. Drop your back knee down. Yeah? Now we're right back to this same pattern. Two palms going away from that front foot so it has space to go back. And you've made it to hands and knees. Well done. All right, so you can hang out here on hands and knees as long as you like. Remember, you've got the directions of rounding a little bit and sinking a little bit. You've got a side-to-side movement you can play with. And don't forget the head here. You can drop that head forward and truly let it hang and lengthen the back of the neck and just get a good stretch. Deep breaths in and out. If you're able to spend a little bit of time hands and knees every day, it's awesome. Really great position. All right. So from here, we're going to come down onto one hip. So walking your hands over a little bit towards one side, so that you can support yourself through the palms and have a seat down on one hip. Turning around to face your feet. Adjusting those hips wherever you like. And we're ready to recline back.
So in back care class, we often will have soft blankets for behind the back of your head. You can use that or a little pillow. Just be careful for something that's too thick, because if you have something that's too thick underneath the back of your head, you're stuck like this. Okay, so think of lengthening the neck, something like this, or down on the floor if you can tolerate it. So take a second to relax into this position. On your back, nice firm surface. I have just one yoga mat and then a blanket on top of it for a little extra softness and cushion. Good. Once you get here, we're going to a bent knee position, feet flat on your mat or blanket. And we're going to ease the right knee in towards the chest, reaching for that knee either over the knee or behind the thigh. And we're going to relax the lower back into the floor here. And then we're going to add a little tiny soft sway side to side. Deep breaths. So again, this is a really simple stretch, right? Pretty much everyone that I've ever worked with, I can't think of a single person who can't do some form or fashion of this. It's very simple. We can all do it. If you go here and you breathe and you rock a little bit, it's guaranteed that you're going to relax and feel better. Good. All right, we're going to ease that right foot back down, coast it to the floor, and then switching out sides, left knee coming into the chest, either holding over that lower leg, the knee, or behind the thigh. Let that lower back relax down again, and then your little sway side to side. Lowering that foot back down. All right, so now that we're in this supine position on the floor, check in with your middle back and your upper back and see how they feel. Notice if they are tense or tight or still kind of holding on and working, or if you can use the floor a little bit more to support you. So think of everything dropping down with every exhale you make. So you're breathing in, listen to the body, and when you breathe out, drop down. Yeah? Good. While we're here, we're going to start softly floating the knees a little bit side to side. Starting out small and easy. And you may want to keep it just this small the whole time. And the feet kind of roll a little bit side to side on the floor as your knees rock. Good, so we're getting a little bit of rotation in that lower back. If you have a back injury or if you have chronic lower back pain, if you jump into this movement too fast or too deep, you're going to feel things tense up. So that's another example of your body protecting you and guarding. So what you do is you come back to center, you stop and you breathe, relax, and then go back to a really small sway side to side that's within a pain-free range. And you hang out there. And when you do that, things will relax and open up. Deep breaths in and out, keep it going. Easy shoulders. I'll often turn my palms face up when I'm in this position because it helps me remember to turn off the shoulders, relax the chest, relax the neck. Good. Let's bring the knees back into that center position. We're going to start some easy pelvic tilts. So pelvic tilt is where you're rotating the pelvis a little bit back. The lower back gets closer to or maybe meets the floor. And then as you relax it forward, maybe rolling forward a little bit, that lower back will leave the floor and arch a little bit. That's a direction to be really careful with though. Everyone rolling back has an easier time. The rolling forward can be a little tricky, so don't push that direction. Starting out small and easy. And connecting that breath. So let's breathe in as you roll back. The lower back goes towards the floor. And then release and relax with the exhale. And breathe in, roll it back. And relax. A few more times. Breathe in and roll. This is so small, but it's really good for you. So don't think bigger is better. All right? Small is great if you're relaxing as you go. Nice. Now from here, you can either continue this pelvic tilt if this feels great to you and you want to stay right here, or you can go into a small bridge. So tilting back, send your hips into a little bit of a float up. And then you float down, that lower back is going to search for the floor first and then release the pelvis again. So we tilt back, a little tilt, a little lift of the hips, and then exhale, drop it down and unroll. Connecting that breath. So we roll and breathe in to lift. Lower, breathe out to relax all the way down. 2 more times. Roll it back and breathe in. And exhale, release and relax. We've got one more time to go. How loose can you keep the upper body and the legs? And exhale, relax down. Beautiful. Relax the back completely. We're going to walk the feet close together and start to ease the knees open to the side. Soles of the feet begin to close together. And we're going into this butterfly position, cobbler's pose. Opening the knees and relaxing, okay? Most of you will be somewhere around here for normal range of motion at your hips. Some of you will be a little bit tighter in here, all right? So work with exactly where you are and what you have. Take deep breaths. Keep the lower back soft, keep the hips soft. And let gravity give you a little stretch. If it's painful at all in the back, bring the knees right back into place. Hang out here with the knees vertical. You can go back to that pelvic tilt or to gently rocking the knees softly side to side. All right, so your pain is your red flag. It says, please don't do this to me. The more we listen to that, the safer we're going to be. Couple more deep breaths if you're in your open cobbler's pose. Good. And then we're going to ease the knees back into that vertical position. This time we're going to widen the feet on your mat a little bit more so your feet are going towards the sides of your mat. Again, you can relax the arms out to the side. We're going to slowly rock the knees again side to side, this time playing with a little more rotation in the hip joint. So you don't have to go any further than you did last time. Find your own speed of movement, but keep breathing deeply. So however that's linked to your movement, make sure your ribs are opening with the inhale and relaxing with the exhale. It will change your quality of movement every time you go back to the deep breath. Couple more times like this. Good. And then making our way back into that center location for the knees and for the feet, walking the feet back in line with the hips. Okay. So at this point, during a typical back care class, we're going to stretch out the hamstrings. And we use a TheraBand or an elastic band in the studio. So if you have one at home, great. You're going to send your foot into the loop of that TheraBand. If you don't have one at home, you're going to ease that right knee towards the chest and hold behind your thigh and float that right foot up in the air. So we're lengthening out the back of the thigh, the hamstring muscle. All right? A big culprit for lower back issues are tight hamstrings. So the more you can gently and safely release those hamstrings, and to be really effective, it's going to have to be consistent. So think of it as a vitamin for your spine and for that hamstring muscle. Take a daily vitamin. You can do this in your bed at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. And remember what a safe stretch is. A safe stretch is comfortable. It's not painful. So if you get that red flag of pain, you know that you're trying to pull it too close to you, or you're trying to stretch your knee out and get a better stretch. It doesn't work. It'll hurt you every time. So soften your knee, send the thigh a little bit away from you, hang out here, and it should feel good. You can feel that muscle lengthening, but it's not causing you distress. Once you find that place of stretch, you can start to bring the toes a little bit towards your face. And then you're going to add in a calf stretch along with it. Again, if you go too far, you just ease those toes a bit away, find a comfortable place. And you can maybe see me rocking a little bit side to side. This helps me to relax my lower back while I'm here. So this shift is across the back of the pelvis. My knees are staying connected. Yeah? I'm not doing this from the hip joint side to side. I'm doing this from the back of my pelvis and my lower back, and it feels like a massage. It's very comforting. So if that works for you, great. Or you can stay in place and breathe right there. So we're going to be here a total of 2 or 3 minutes. As you're here, you may feel things relax and loosen up. You can always ease that thigh a little bit closer in, as long as it doesn't cause you pain or cause you to tense up. Good. And now we're going to send that top heel across the opposite knee and relax right here in this cross leg position. It's just a great kind of follow-up to a hamstring stretch because both hips relax and soften. You can keep that little massage and sway side to side going. Take a good listen. Notice all the sensations happening in your body. Because even having your leg up in that elevated position is great for your circulation. It's cleaning out that leg, drawing the blood back towards the heart, cleaning out your lymphatic system. So that causes all kinds of kind of tingling sensations and feel-goods to notice and absorb. All right, so we're going to uncross that first foot, bringing it back down to the floor and starting the second side. So ease that left knee in towards the chest. If you have a TheraBand, you can hook your foot inside of it. If you don't, you can hold on to the back of the thigh. Some people who are flexible might hold the back of the shin, the back of the lower leg and calf, right? Finding the most comfortable place for you. And following the same guidelines on this side. Watch out for pain, move it back if it doesn't feel good. Soft sway if that helps you relax. And then right back to your deep breaths. You can ease the toes towards your face. Combine that little calf stretch, back of the knee. Keep breathing deeply. So we're drawing close to the end of the hour. If Instagram cuts off, it's because I talk a lot and we've run out of time and there's an hour limit. All right, so after we stretch out the hamstrings, we'll relax or we'll go towards a Shavasana position. So at home, you might have yoga bolster to slide under your knees. That's the best position for your lower back to put it in a little bit of slack and ease. Or you can use as many blankets as you like to create that bolster, or a thick sofa cushion. And crossing that heel over the opposite knee, kind of relaxing and softening after finishing that side stretch. Good. So in our back care class at the studio, we like to double up on the bolsters and have a nice kind of elevated leg position in Shavasana. So I'll demonstrate that with my 2 bolsters. But you can brainstorm what's around your house and how can you kind of preset that for yourself so that your legs are in elevation. But above all, you want to get your lower back and your middle back and your upper back, everything relaxed. So that as you breathe and rest, you can completely unwind. All right, so I'm going to roll onto one side, gently bring myself up. If you have a couple of bolsters, that elevated position looks like this. So that the feet are going to be the highest part of your body. My knees are supported, my hips are relaxing into the ground, and I'm breathing here. Yeah, so you can get yourself set up in that position.
The other thing we use at the studio are some weights, some Ravis, little weighted blankets. So you can use that. You can use a 10-pound bag of rice over your feet and over your ankles or over your belly. And the effect of adding some weight to any part of our body that enjoys that is that it sends a signal to our nervous system to relax, deep relaxation. So it helps us move into that parasympathetic side of the nervous system where we desperately need to spend more time in. Okay, instead of our stress response where we're uptight and we're multitasking, try to get a million things done or try to keep up with whatever demands that we've put on ourselves. If we can stay more on the relaxation side of things, we'll be so much calmer, so much better equipped to walk through our days, and we'll be able to accomplish more and feel better while we do it, and treat people better while we do it. And if ever there is a time for that to happen, it would be now. Yeah? So thank you so much for joining me for back care. And I encourage you to take good care of your backs from now on. Invest in that well-being and that care. And it translates into every part of your body. It doesn't isolate itself to just one piece. What we did today was a holistic experience. Your whole body joins in, in the best way. So that's it. Have a great, great Friday, a great day. I'll be back every Friday for back care. And what we did today, we'll do kind of similar structure, but there are always like variations. I never do the same thing twice because I would be bored to death, and so would you. So we'll meet again. Have a great day. God bless.